I found the game at exactly 2:17 in the morning, during that quiet hour when the internet feels abandoned and every bad idea feels reasonable. It wasn't advertised, it wasn't recommended, and it definitely wasn't meant to be found easily. The link sat alone in a dead forum thread, surrounded by years of silence, like everyone who saw it before had agreed not to talk anymore. There was only one sentence written beneath it, and it didn't explain anything: if you quit, you're removed. I didn't know what that meant, but I clicked anyway. The download finished instantly, almost eagerly, and an empty gray icon appeared on my screen. No title. No logo. Just something waiting. The game didn't load the way games usually do. There was no menu, no sound, no introduction telling me what I was supposed to be. 1 second my desktop was there, and the next I was staring at a pixelated town frozen in dull blue tones, like a photograph taken right before something went wrong. My character stood in the middle of the street, faceless, nameless, unfinished. Then words began to type themselves at the bottom of the screen: "Welcome back." That was impossible. I had never opened this game before, but the screen didn't care. It had already decided this wasn't my first time. As I moved through the town, other characters slowly appeared, fading in like bad connections stabilizing. Their usernames hovered above them, flickering softly. One of those names stopped me cold. I recognized it immediately. It belonged to a content creator who had disappeared months ago without explanation, no goodbye, no final post, just gone. I tried to convince myself it was coincidence, but the character didn't move like the others. It didn't wander aimlessly. It waited. Then it walked into a building that vanished as soon as the door closed, like it had never existed at all. I tried to pause the game. I pressed escape, expecting a menu, but instead the screen darkened and a single message appeared: quitting is progress. Progress is permanent. It didn't feel like a warning. It felt like a reminder. When the message faded, the town looked dimmer, heavier, like it had just learned something about me. I laughed quietly to myself, because laughing makes things feel harmless. But when I tried to minimize the game, it didn't respond. It stayed open. Waiting. A new building appeared at the edge of town that I swear hadn't been there before. Its sign glitched between words I couldn't fully read, but I caught pieces of them: archive. Exit. Roster. Inside were hallways lined with doors, each labeled with a username. Some doors looked solid and bright. Others were faded, their names half erased, like the game was forgetting them on purpose. When I walked too close to one of those faded doors, the frame rate dropped, as if the game struggled to keep it real. I didn't open any of them. Something told me those doors didn't lead anywhere I could come back from. That's when I noticed the player count in the corner of the screen. It was going down. Not disconnecting. Not lagging. Dropping. Every time the number changed, a faint burst of static filled my headphones, and every character on screen froze for half a second, like they felt it too. Then they kept walking, pretending nothing had happened. No messages appeared. No explanation was given. Someone was gone, and the game had already moved on. I checked the original forum thread on my phone, scrolling through old comments with a growing sense of dread. Some users joked about the game knowing them too well. Others asked why their friends never replied anymore. One comment stood out more than the rest: "Don't Alt F4. That counts as quitting." There were no replies under it. The account that posted it had no activity afterward. I looked back at my laptop and realized how easy it would be to just close everything and walk away. And how hard it suddenly felt. The game spoke to me directly for the first time. My username appeared on screen, followed by text that typed itself slowly, deliberately: "You haven't tried to leave yet. Most people do by now." The town darkened around me, the edges of the screen blurring like the world itself was losing focus. There was no reply option. There didn't need to be. The message wasn't asking a question. It was observing me. I followed another player into a building that looked like a school, its hallways looping in impossible ways. Classroom doors opened into empty spaces, and chalkboards displayed usernames crossed out in thin white lines. At the end of the hallway, words flickered on the wall, "Active players are remembered." When I turned around, the other player was gone. No animation. No sound. Just absence. The player count dropped again. Outside the game, things started to feel off. Notifications came late. Messages loaded slower than they should have. My reflection in the dark screen didn't quite match my movements. I told myself it was just the hour, just fatigue. But the game didn't pause when I looked away. It waited. When I looked back, new text appeared, "Leaving is still an option." Somehow, that was worse than being told it wasn't. I finally tested the rules. I moved my cursor toward the close button, just to see what would happen. The moment I hovered over it, the game froze, and a new screen appeared, a list of usernames under the heading "Pending Removal." My name was there. A timer appeared beside it, counting down from 10. I pulled my cursor away, and the screen instantly returned to normal, like nothing had happened. Like it was relieved. After that, the game changed. The town brightened. New paths opened. Characters stood along the streets facing me wherever I went. Above their heads floated a single word, "Stay." I realized then the game wasn't punishing people for quitting. It was rewarding people for remaining. For choosing familiarity over escape.